So tomorrow I am doing a small scale run because I've got to be in that area anyway. I'm not going to go nuts. I'm just going to take a few things that I need to get out of my way. So there's about 20 pounds of stainless. This is old sheet aluminum, and I've got maybe about 35 pounds there, I think. A couple of painted pieces in there, but they usually don't separate that stuff out. Some number 2 copper, that was the long pipe I found yesterday, and then there's some more at the bottom there. So probably a good 10 to 15 pounds. This is aluminum breakage, just a bunch of stuff that has irony bits in it or other junk like this piece on top. That's a lot of aluminum there, but it does have a lot of junk in it. I'm not going to deal with it. The heavy hitter will be all my data wire, not all of it, but this is just another, I don't know, 150 to 200 pounds. This is all data wire here. I've got at least 50 pounds in the 2 buckets back there, and then I've got all this here. This stuff on top is Cat 6. This wasn't a full spool. I've still got, I don't know, 8 or 9 full spools of that stuff, and to be honest, on Facebook Marketplace it's just not selling. If I continue to get #1 pricing on that, which I am lately, that's $2 a pound, 25 pounds per box, that's $50. There's a guy not far from here trying to sell 3 boxes of this, $50 a piece. That's everything I'm hoping to get. I don't know, I mean, this is 150 pounds, let's just say. If they give me #1, that's $300. If they only give me 45%, which is what they were giving me for a very long time for data wire, then that's only about $1 a pound. So 150 bucks at least there, and then I don't know, maybe another $50 here, maybe a bit more. So $200 to $300 is what I'm hoping for at least, and we'll see how it goes. All right, let's take a look, see if there's anything in here. Some metal brackets down there and a very old TV. I don't take TVs because I don't have an outlet for them. The scrapyard doesn't take TVs, but I do see there's another one there too. Let's grab this stuff. It actually got pretty chilly here in North Carolina all of a sudden, but I'll be taking the jacket off here shortly. Yeah, man, that sucker is heavy. There's probably a good board in there, but I just don't have a way to get rid of the rest of the TV, so it's not coming. Love seat, an old school one, and some nice OSB, and those are too big, I think, and they've been rained on pretty bad. Yeah, I'm not putting that on the roof. If I had the truck, I would take it, even though it's been in the rain. Because there's, what, 4 pieces there? Yeah, I can't even get underneath it. Oh man, look at that. That's kind of a shame. Record player. I wonder if there's anything in there I could scrap out. I love listening to records. Yeah, there might be. I mean, I know that's plastic, but there might be some metal in there. I'm gonna go ahead and take this, scrap it out, and make sure it doesn't fall on my head. Got a PC with everything in it, so that's coming. That's heavy. That one there. That is probably brass. Last time I found one like this, it was brass, but you never know. It could just be aluminum. Either way, let's scrap that out. Guess I should turn on my light. And nothing else all the way back there. Nothing underneath the chair. Look at that. I don't think I've ever tried putting a 4x8 sheet of plywood on the roof. It's just too big to take. Yeah, I know a lot of people are gonna be annoyed. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. It's gonna be like a huge wing, and setting it on top of the rack, I'm not going to be able to strap it down very well because it overhangs the rack so much that the strap's going to come back to the rack, and I just don't think I can secure it good enough that I'm going to be confident driving down the road without it flying off. Those might be a little bit less than 4 foot, but they're nice sheets of wafer board for sure. There's another piece back there, a smaller piece. Yeah. Oh well. I'm sure I'll come across more when I finally get my truck back. Yeah, I'm starting to wonder. I didn't bring my drill. I mean, the only thing I'm going to get out of this probably is there might be a metal frame in there. Suckers are heavy. So I don't know what to do with the rest of it other than legally throw it out with my trash. And I'm not going to do that, so it's just going to stay illegal here. Alright, so now that I found those things, I want to see if there's anything else. Could just take off the base. At least do that. Yeah. I mean, that's a metal base, so I'll at least take off the metal bases. Right. Get this off. I wish I had my drill. There is one. So that is all metal underneath there. And then this one. Man, this thing is a beast. Can be all shred material. So we got the 2 base plates, got the PC, got a record player, and a couple of other little things. So let's head to the next one. Okay, all right, we got a little bit of cat wire in this one. This is the one that I found all that yellow coated aluminum stuff. But normally don't find too much in here. Yep. Nothing on the spools, just that little bit. So I already hit a couple of dumpsters and it seems kind of full. Haven't seen anything yet. It's actually been pretty lean. So that does have, that looks sort of new. That's just a board, but yeah, I'll take it. And this one probably, yeah. These are the replacement ones. No way for me to tell if they work or not, so I'll just grab them. And that's it in here. Okay, let's check and see. Ooh, a lot of mess. don't really see anything down on this end. Yeah, just a bunch of nastiness. I'll take the signs. Those are either aluminum or steel, I can't remember, but either way, they're coming with me. Other than that, nothing else. Nope. This box has something in it. Yeah, just a sign. These would probably make good tarps, huh? Maybe I'll take one. That is Cracker Barrel, maybe? Yeah, I'm taking these. I've never seen them complete like this, but yeah, to cover up stuff instead of a tarp. I mean, you can't beat that. This one's a lot older, and it's a nice big one, but it's black. I like that it's black on the outside because then it's not too bright, not as gaudy when you're covering something up. So yeah, that's gonna come with. I'll have to check that out when I get home. But yeah, maybe that's Cracker Barrel. So yeah, that ended up being pretty decent. Can always use extra tarps. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, the exact same stuff as last time. Yep. What is that though? Oh wow, that is that I don't need. This thing, man, that's heavy. Don't need the plastic. There's a faucet down there. Got distracted. Take that. And it looks like that's, well, there's another one inside here. So, I'll take that as well. I got some brass. Oh, where'd that? Little pieces all the way at the bottom now. Oh well. Back to this. Man, that is really heavy. Okay. Doesn't look heavy, but that's a good 40 pounds. So yeah, there is definitely some decent metal on there, some wires, motors. I will take it. And then that thing put back in its place, and I think that is about it. All the rest of this was here last time, so yeah, that's it here. Always forget to check this little dumpster here, and not usually too much, but that is, oh, that's that wire that was in those other boxes. So yeah, I got a little what's going on here. Sort through that in a second, and then couple of rollers. Add that to the other stuff. Yeah, more rollers. Cable. Another roller there. A little bit of hardware. That seems to be about it. Take a little bit further look. Yeah, just wondering if there was anything in that box. And nope. So the rest appears to be trash. Nothing in that one either. Alright. So I'll grab the stuff out of there and head out. Alright, so this is some new territory I found. Saw this earlier and wanted to check it out. Don't know if it's gonna pan out too much, but it's another open top, and since I'm here, may as well check out what kind of stuff ends up inside. So that's metal. I will definitely take that. Got my knife on me, but I'll take that off later. There's another one over there. So this is decent. That's metal. I don't know if that's aluminum or not. But that's pretty much it. Yeah. That's nasty. Alright, so yeah, that's it in here. I will keep checking this one. It's not too far from home, so that kind of works out. So since that dive was over a couple different days, I'm not going to show you all the little tidbits that I got. Besides, I've already put that throughout my scrap area. Instead, I'll focus on these 3 units and show you the degree of microscrapping that I do. I think when it comes to YouTube, I'm somewhere in the middle. I won't take a unit like this or that and just throw it all into shred. I will break it down a bit further, but I don't take it to the nth degree that some YouTubers do and just strip everything out down to its last possible component and make sure you get aluminum instead of aluminum breakage or motors instead of copper and steel. So let me show you with each of these units what I would do with all the components inside. I'm not going to go through every screw and have you watch me take apart the whole thing, but I will give you a good idea of what's inside. So this here, this record player, I found in the one open top along with that tower. And if this was in good condition, I would resell it or keep it. But you can see the knobs are broken. These are twisted. Some knobs are missing. This is popped off. And the record player in general is not in good condition. So for that reason, I'm just going to scrap it out. The tower, it's a older one, Dell. And it does have, I think, a DVD drive and a read-write drive, plus whatever else is in there. And then this here is an industrial control panel. So this I found in the one neon green open top. That's pretty heavy and there should be some good components in there. So first we'll start with the record player. I think in here there is going to be some good boards, and there are, you can see down in here. So you do have a little bit of copper there, a lot of wires, but I'm going to go ahead and take this wooden box off, take the plate off, and then I'll do things like checking this. So for something like that, I do have a magnet here, and that is non-magnetic. It is metal, so it is more than likely aluminum. So I would just put that into plate aluminum. Same thing with this. I'll take this all apart. Something to consider on some of this stuff would be, can parts get resold? I've got too much stuff to resell, so I'm not going to even bother with that. But sometimes little panels like this will sell to people that are trying to rebuild one of these, but I just don't have the time to deal with that kind of stuff. So that's a steel plate. So let me get a little bit further into this, and then I will show you what's inside and what I'm going to do with it. So there is the wooden box and the wooden cover underneath. So this piece of metal I will take off, and that is probably steel, so I'll throw that in with shred steel. That'll be trash. And then here's your unit. So I think this is some kind of transformer that's going to stay in place. Here we're going to have this aluminum rod like I pointed out earlier. The rest of this is steel. I won't take apart the rest of this unless this is probably, that's aluminum too. So I'll pop this part off. And then under here is a small, looks like transformer. This I'll take off. Here's what the inside looks like. You can see there's some aluminum here. You might be a little transformer there, some boards, which are probably low grade boards. And that's gonna be steel. This will all be steel. There might be a little motor in there that I can take out. So let me further break this down and come back to you. Oh, there it goes. But as you can see, lots of little bits and pieces coming apart. Another knob down here. So on the inside of this, you've got another aluminum plate. That's going to be a steel bracket. And then this motor and all of this is steel, so I'll take apart this motor. I won't do that on camera for the sake of time, but the little motor components in here I'll turn in as a motor. These boards, I will continue to take all the wire off, and then I'll turn these into board sort at one point. I haven't done any board sort shipments, but when I do, I will film that. That's going to probably be in the distant future. This here, part of the frame is steel, that's steel, and then little components like this are all aluminum. So if these pop right out, I will take them out and turn these in as aluminum breakage. But the difference is 13 cents a pound, which a lot of these are barely going to add up to even half a pound, versus 7 cents a pound for the steel and just turning this in all as one unit. So most of this is going to be turned in as steel. This thing here, this roller, that might actually, nope, that's steel. So did get a little bit of aluminum here. The turntable will be breakage, a little aluminum here. And then these boards probably get me, they look like low grade boards. There's nothing special about them, no gold fingers, no objects that are going to have, except for these, maybe some precious metals in them. So all in all, this unit is probably only worth a couple of bucks. But I do microscrap this stuff out. I like the idea of turning in the stuff how it should be turned in to a certain degree rather than throw the whole thing in shred. But this is an obvious example of why people might just throw the whole thing into shred, because when you do that, you also get the weight of all the plastic, you would have gotten the weight of all the wood. And now that I add all this up in my head, it might have been worthwhile to throw the whole thing in as shred for, in my case, 7 cents a pound, especially up in like the Ohio area, Illinois area. I think they're getting about 10 to 12 cents a pound. So obviously better to turn it in all as one unit. But I do break this stuff down to a certain degree. I'll break this all down off camera and then we'll hit one of these other units. Okay, so next up is this Dell. It's got Windows XP, Intel Inside, Pentium 4. So I'll go ahead and get this cover off and then I'll explain what I'm going to do with all the internal components. So here is the shell. All of the shell is going to be steel, so that's just shred material. And we'll lift this out. And there's the internals. So all this ribbon I will just throw in with low-grade ribbon. I won't even take the ends off, and I'll just throw that in with the other 45% or less bin that I have. Here you're going to have the hard drive, I believe is in this one here. There you go. So there's the hard drive. I will send this into board sort, and for this video I'll tell you what I'm getting for these, but you do have to pay shipping to get it there. So that's going to go to board sort. This memory will also go to board sort. It's got the gold fingers on it. They do take these with or without the gold fingers, and that has a price as well. So I'll accumulate a bunch of these and then sell them all in at one time. We've got 2 of them there. Then this board here, the motherboard, will also be stripped. And then here is your power supply. Board sort takes these with or without the wire attachment. So I'll look at the price and see what makes sense. But to be honest, it's a lot easier to just take all these out and send the whole thing in together. So I will finish taking this thing apart. There's lots of videos out there of people taking PCs apart. E-Waste Ben is a great person to watch. I know there's a lot of other small channels out there that you could watch instead, but I don't know the names of them offhand. So let me finish stripping this down. So here's everything laid out. Here's all the ribbon wire and a couple of other little pieces of wire. Here's the power supply complete with the harness. And then I was careful to try to remove everything without damaging it, because I will look these up and see if there's value in individual components. Like this fan, it has this cover that's attached and that flips. Things like that can break and people might want to replace those. So I'll double check and see if this is worth anything before I scrap it out for just the motor in here, and that would be it, and this little bit of wire. But I kept this intact until then. Also, this is the entire shell on the one side, and I removed everything out of it. It was really nice because everything had these little green tabs on it, and you just, you know, moved them out of the way and everything pulled right out. You didn't have to deal with screws or anything. Very nice unit. So here you've actually got a floppy disk, and I'm old enough to remember using those when they first came out. But this I will check and see on board sort if it's worth anything, just to send it as is. There is a board in here that I could take all this out, turn this into shred steel, and just sell the board. I'll have to check on that. It is extremely dirty, so I'll see if there's a market for maybe just parts. I wouldn't sell this as a working unit. And then you've got your DVD. Again, I could sell that to board sort as a whole unit, or just take the board from inside of it out. And then here is a disc. I believe it's a read-write disc unit. Yeah, rewritable. So again, I'll do the same thing with that, and also see on eBay if there is a market for them as is. This board was really cool, the motherboard. I don't know if this thing's worth something as a whole. I already took off the heatsink with this tab and it just pops right out. The problem is you've got all these tiny, tiny little gold-plated pins, and once those are out of here, it is very hard to get back in without damaging them. So I'll probably pop this off, sell this as cast aluminum, and then sell this separately to board sort. This here comes out, and then you've got another cast aluminum piece. Underneath here is probably some kind of chip. I'll have to research that. Again, I don't come across this stuff very often. I'm just letting you know what I am doing with this type of unit. I know from E-Waste Ben, you got to take the battery out before you send the rest of this into board sort. So I'll remove the rest of this and then grade it on whatever they say as far as their instructions go. So the motherboard will come out as well. The chip is worth something. You can send the motherboard in as one price with the chips, or you can remove them, depopulate some of the stuff, and then they'll take it as a lower cost unit. The rest of this will be shred steel. So then I've got some interesting slot cards. These all have the gold fingers on them. I gotta see if it's worth taking off this device before I send it in. Again, there's two different quotes, I believe, on Board Sort. One is with all the, you just call it garbage. This is steel, it's not worth anything to them. Probably this plastic unit here might not be. They're going after the gold little pieces inside here, as well as the gold fingers. The little chip here might have something. Then you've got the crystal that has some precious metal in it. Same thing here. Could remove the aluminum heatsink and then also remove the metal, or turn it in as is with the gold fingers. Even these tiny ones here have gold fingers on them. That one got bent, and gold fingers here. There's probably gold or copper inside there. And then on this tiny Dell one, there's gold fingers here. So I'll go ahead and grade it. Over here, that's kind of some junk over there, but in one of those barrels is nothing more than all sorts of boards, from motherboards to slot cards to low grade boards. A lot of separating and research that I need to do. I need to watch a lot more videos when it comes to this. So anyway, that's what the inside of the Dell looks like. And like I said, I am pretty much going to microscrap this down to the individual sellable units. And if necessary, I'll take the board out of that and scrap that even further. It all comes down to what kind of money am I going to get out of it, and then the rest of this gets turned into shred steel. This is all the plastic that came off of it, so you've got a good, that's probably a good 8 pounds of plastic right there that came off the outer cover. And then all of this would go as garbage as well, minus the motor, if I don't sell this as one unit. So let's move on to the last one. All right, so we'll start to take this apart. Already on the outside, all of this is just steel, so that's all shred material, that's plastic. So let's see if there's anything valuable on the inside. So this whole thing, and just gonna keep the handle on there, that will be thrown into shred. So in here, you have a lot of wire, obviously, and that's like maybe 55% number 2. So not too bad, and there's a decent amount of it in here. So I'll go ahead and take this top portion off and see what else is in here. Laid out now that I've got it all apart. And so this board, that I'm not sure exactly how that's going to be graded, but it has a lot of dead weight to it, so probably low grade, even though you've got the gold pins here. And these are probably, these could be silver pins on the back, I'm not sure. This here, a couple of little transformers. These are borderline for what I would take apart and take the copper off of, but I will remove these, put them with my other transformers, and then I probably will take the copper out of those. Fan, I'll just turn this in as a motor. And then here you've got this cast aluminum part that has a very robust heatsink for this thing up here. Now that color, I believe that's gonna be copper. I don't think that's gold, but it's got this nice gooey stuff that is protecting it. So I might go ahead and remove that and turn that in with dirty copper if that is exactly what it is. Not positive. If anybody knows, please let me know. I won't have discarded that by then. And then up here, I'll take these boards off, and then those will be graded accordingly. So you can see the level that I go into. So even on these risers, that's brass in there, but there is so much plastic around it, and then that is a steel screw. So it's very borderline, actually beyond borderline, of turning that in with dirty brass. But you know, I might just throw it in there because it's so light anyway. If that was much more substantial, I'd probably ask them what I could do with those. But as you can see, I don't microscrap down to the very little nitty-gritty, but I do microscrap to a certain degree. All these wires will get cut off. The green boards get sorted and sent in when I finally send in sort boards, and I'll put them with the other ones that I have over there. All the rest of this gets turned into shred steel. This will get cleaned up completely and turned in with clean cast aluminum, and that's a good 6 pounds, that right there. This will be turned in as a motor. You got the transformers. I'll take the copper out of that. This is just a composite piece. That's probably trash. And the same thing with that board. So even these little ribbons that aren't worth much, I throw these in with low grade. Sometimes he just throws them in with my other 55%, but I separate this kind of low grade stuff out just so that they can see it and decide what they want to do with it. But at the very least, I'm going to get 30%, so it's something's better than nothing versus throwing it in with the shred material. So even this here is aluminum if it isn't brass. Actually, I'm looking at the edge, that might be brass, so I'm going to throw that in with my brass pile. And then all of the wire will get graded accordingly as well, and I'll sort that with the other wire. And then out of this whole thing, we only had that little bit of plastic, and then this plastic here with boards in it, so that'll just get discarded and thrown out. So I do that with pretty much everything that I have. I've got an example there of my garage door openers. So most of that is shred, but I will open those up. I'll take the motors out. I will definitely cut the cord on the outside. I'll finish taking the rest of the cord out on the inside. I will throw everything that is connected to steel into the shred, and then the plastic components that come off easy, I'll throw those out. Something like that, I will check and see if it's aluminum or brass. I'll take out the light bulb, cut off all the wires, and take off all the glass, throw that in the pile, whatever is clean, whether it's aluminum or brass. So as you can see, there is quite a bit of effort that goes into this stuff to take this whole thing apart. I've never done one of these. It took 3 different Torx bits that I had to change out constantly. It took a Phillips head bit. Record player, of all the things that is definitely not worthwhile, it was the record player. Very little aluminum in there. That was all the aluminum out of the record player. That was a lot of the other steel. I had very little stuff of value, and it may have made more sense just to throw the whole thing into scrap, and I can understand why people would do that. That was definitely not worth my while. There's not even, well, that there does weigh 2 pounds, so if that was plastic, definitely not worth it. So it's just one of those things that I kind of play by ear. So that would be borderline as to what I would do with it. But you can see that I do tear down most of the stuff, and that's why I am so far behind in all of my scrap, and I have stuff piled up everywhere because I actually take the time to microscrap it out to a certain degree and get a little bit more money out of it. So anyway, leave your comments below. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of them, and if there's some helpful ones as to if I miscategorize something or I overlook something, please do let me know. Stuff like this is new to me. I'm not big into electronics. I only come across this stuff every now and then. The PC stuff, these large electrical units. So I'm not an expert. I'm just kind of going by what I've seen on YouTube and what I remember. But I just wanted to give you an example as to what I do as far as microscrapping and the level that I do it to. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.